Howdy everyone, it's me once again, the one and only Killer Dan. So for today's video, I figured I'll just do yet another video in regards of Barbie, because why not? I've discussed this doll, this character quite a few times before in the past. I've done it lately anyway, so I just figured it wouldn't harm to do it again. Yes, this is in regard of specific gaming. Be more specific, the GameCube. So I just thought about a game that was supposed to have been made, but wasn't. So I just thought I was referred to that really. Yeah, talk about unmade games. So I just thought I'd talk about this because before anyone says anything, no, this has nothing to do with nostalgia. You have to keep in mind that I am over 100 years old, so I was already quite old when this system was actually released. So this has nothing to do with the precious childhood memories, none of that. So just thought I'd throw that out there. To be more precise, like I said a moment ago, is that this is in regard of, as I was saying, for whatever reason, this was intended to be released, but for whatever reason, it wasn't. So it's one of these kinds of stuff that was believed to have been forgotten or no longer exist on any format. Well, in this case, they wanted to make a game for this character, but it just wasn't done really. And pretty much this could also include, of course, films, radio broadcasts, music, films, and whatnot. Of course, in this case, this has something to do in regards of a video game. Oh, definitely. But of course, that doesn't mean there can't be any efforts to preserve said thing as an attempt to avoid the loss of certain works, which can happen in some ways by storing them in some kind of archive kind of a thing. Yes, this could even include GameCube. It's not that the GameCube wasn't popular or anything like that, because it certainly was. The GameCube was definitely a popular system. So don't be thinking that I'm trying to slander the company for making this console. I'm not trying to do anything like that. It's just sometimes, even despite its popularity, it just couldn't be done. Same thing with the Mantel. Even though Mantel is popular, but sometimes it just slips out of your hands. And it's this game right here, folks. So it has something to do with treasures. Oh, definitely. So it's kind of like this adventure type game that was intended to be released for the GameCube, but also was intended to be released for the other system as well, which is, of course, the PS2. So yeah, this was going to be released on both consoles at the time. So somewhere in the early 2000s, like 2002 to be more precise. Again, it's not that the PS2 wasn't popular, obviously not. The PS2 was actually quite popular. It was actually, they had some really well-known releases at the time. Many of the titles became really well known. But again, unfortunately, that doesn't stop certain titles from slipping away, such as the Barbie Treasure thing I just mentioned a moment ago. So this was a canceled sequel to another Barbie game that was released for the Nintendo GameCube and PS2. So the other Barbie game they had in mind that they actually did make, the one I'm referring to is Barbie Explorer. Yes, this was definitely the game here, folks. Obviously. So I'm guessing over here that this game must have been popular enough that they felt that it weren't a sequel. So of course they want to do this as fast as they could to pretty much keep the momentum going, which is understandable. But because of the fact that this is a business after all, so you have to keep things going some kind of way. It's just that the thing is that the theme was time traveling. Yeah, seriously, out of all the things you could have had, time traveling and that Barbie thing. So that seems kind of strange in some ways. Out of all the things you could have actually leave focus on, it had to be this. So yes, Barbie Adventures in Time Traveler. What is basically this kind of sequel, as I said a moment ago. So yes, this game has been developed by a company. It's this company, in case anyone's wondering, folks, which was this British. video game developer based in the United Kingdom. The company was founded in April of 1997 and mostly developed games based on licensed properties, Barbie in this case. In 2002, the company was pretty much commissioned by the BBC to produce a fighting game engine for the company's upcoming Fightbox game show project. So, of course, there was the thing is that, however, various financial issues, mismanagement, and other problems pretty much caused this company to go bust at the end of December of 2002. To keep the show alive, BBC worldwide acquired the developer and a small number of its staff and rename it under the BBC's core publishing brand, Game Lab. So there was that, of course, and yes, there's like a whole history of this behind this company. But anyway, so one of the individuals that was going to work on this game until its completion, and it was this guy. So yes, he was going to see this through, if actually it went through, that is, until its completion. But of course, it never did really. Anyway, and this game, this Barbie game, was going to be published by this one video game company, which is this one, by the way, folks. And it was this American video game publisher and holding company based in Los Angeles. Was founded in 1996 as CUC Software. The publishing company was going to do something like this, and it had something to do with also with the other company called CUC International under the acquired video game companies. The, this kind of thing was actually going to be a thing, of course. And yes, by the way, they did publish quite a few titles, obviously, for a good while. And this is like a whole thing, of course, with this company. Example, I've seen this game floating around for quite some time. Matter of fact, ever since I have seen it floating around in gaming stores for a good while, like that, for example. So yes, they've been around for a hot minute. Just throwing it out there. All right. Anyway, going back to the one Barbie game here. Yes, treasures and time. Oh, definitely. Anyway, but yeah, this was definitely a game where Barbie herself goes on a time traveling trip to find the lost treasures. Within the game, you would visit locations, of course, ancient cities, shipwrecks, secret caves, a castle, and a medieval ward, of course, futuristic gardens, these vast forests, and of course, a futuristic theme park. Of course, that's probably basically the premise there, where on your way to obtain this so-called magic items to unlock new moves like rolling, driving, and of course jumping, which helps you to move over obstacles, of course. And yeah, the game itself had two working titles. Barbie Time Traveler was a title for the PS2 release, and Barbie Treasures and Time was the name for the GameCube release. So pretty much what happened here is that on the 3rd of December of 2002, there was definitely something that pretty much would occur, of course, to this game in regards to its completion and whatnot, or it seemed like it could have been made. Of course, there would be fans excited for the release of this game. Of course, displaying the excitement for this game to be done. But of course, there would be some people who would be, of course, showing some kind of, let's just say that, doubt that would actually ever be released. On the 3rd of December of 2022, there was actually this Amazon account that posted a 5-star review showing excitement for the game, while also showing doubt, like I was saying a moment ago, that this game would ever get a release. And then on the 31st of August of 2003, another Amazon user made a review on the game's page looking for the game itself, claiming that they will be really attempting to visit the store Toys R Us to no avail, with Toys R Us claiming that they had the game on store shelves a long time ago, but not anymore, which, of course, the speculation around that. So there's literally no physical evidence in even in the used market. You can't find this in the used market at all. So somebody working on there has been clearly lying. I mean, of course, it doesn't exactly help that this company went out of business. So whoever that employee stated that the game was there a long time ago, but wasn't anymore, I don't know. I don't know who that employee said that, but like you could know anyway because, like I said, the company went out of business. How are you going to be able to track down the company's records in terms with the employees? So how can you backtrack that right there? So they just makes this an entire mess right here when you think about it. I mean, yes, you could try to structure it online, sure, like for a physical copy, but no, there's non-existent, like at all. There's no available copies of it, like at all. It just makes this entire thing even more questionable. Like, what do you mean you had a copy or copies, as you say? I mean, there could be other web pages in which you could look, maybe, sure, but you could try that. But there's not a whole lot of information really like at all. So it just makes them this like an entire treasure hunt on its own when you think about it. And not only that, you have to pretty much do more research for the people who wanted to see this game and actually play it. Yes, actually there was an actual email that was actually sent regarding the game itself. So there were already people who really wanted to see this game and want to play it, and for their own fun and whatnot. So it just seems like where is it? It was just unfortunately it was never completed. They started making it, it was just never finished like at all. Just unfortunately, it just that was the case. So it just seems like that this was just no, it's a big no no. It was not going to happen. There's some screenshots as far as that's concerned. Okay, let me just say this real quick before I go for any further. I mean, yes, of course, even though the GameCube might be an older console, okay, it is, but that doesn't mean the graphics themselves are going to be really poor, like super primitive. I mean, okay, there's going to be some noticeable difference compared to like nowadays, of course, like the PS5 and whatnot, sure. But considering the age, the graphics themselves aren't too bad. So just keep that in mind, all right? Just putting it out there. Or even if you want to compare it to like other games, like for the even the PS2 era, the graphics themselves will be pretty solid despite being older, of course. Just throwing it out there. I'm not trying to justify anything or whatever. I'm just trying to put that out there when it comes to some type of graphics, of course. But okay, I just want to say that real quick. All right, just so you know. But anyway, I just there were actually some screenshots, of course, like I was saying earlier, of course. That does so bottom line, what I'm trying to say is that the game itself just basically remained in a beta testing era when it comes to graphics and whatnot. So yeah, of course it's not gonna be super impressive. Of course, just throwing it out there. So yeah, there were just some screenshots I came across. Not many really, but just some I was able to find, and I will show it here, of course. Just showing, just displaying various aspects of the potential gameplay through, I guess, someone could have done, of course. And yeah, some various things that you could go through on obstacles and whatnot. So there was that, of course. But that's as far as I could go, I guess, because like I said, it never passed a certain dilemma, of course. But anyway, the thing is that, yeah, to get more crazier here, folks, is that, yeah, remember the one developer I mentioned earlier? Yeah, this guy. On the 7th of December of 2022, the game was supposed to have this lead programmer, that guy I just said right there, folks, had been contacted by Pinky Noise and claimed that the other company was objectively a lazy company and that people only worked of high pay. This was one of the major reasons that the one company showed earlier fell to its demise. He also noted that all the files of the Barbie treasures in time were lost after one of the two studios in this place will close down permanently. In the same email, it was explained that the game was nowhere near finished, not even at the alpha stage, proving that there was never a functional build to begin with, which just followed the complications even further. This does make me wonder what could have been if this actually fell through. Unfortunately, it didn't, obviously. It just seemed like no one was working properly by the looks of it, and it's like the company itself wasn't really spending the money correctly. And yes, that company they're referring to, which I mentioned earlier, folks, right in the beginning of the video, yeah, that company did fail through and it basically went out of business. So the company that was supposed to have finished this game went out of business. So I guess they were slacking off to some extent. It's just that unfortunate that this wasn't made, or at least completed, I guess. Like they were in the process, but even in the alpha stage, like this one individual was stating, is that it wasn't even functioning properly. Like not really, and maybe to some extent it was. I guess it just seems that this maybe could have been fun, maybe with under the right hands, I guess you can say, with the right people in mind, they could have actually done this, of course. So it's just that it's just remained in lost media, and that's about it. And that's about it, of course. So, of course, unfortunately, it just didn't go any further than the testing stage, really, by any means, of course. And yes, it's pretty much sad in that this had to happen, obviously. But anyway, it's just stated that this is just something I want to discuss for a good moment here. And this could have been good, I guess. Maybe. I don't know. But it just seems that it could have been one of these types of stuff that could have been fun. I mean, yes, there were multiple Barbie games over the years, and I do mean a lot of these types of games were made over the years. It's just that this one right here that came across with was just unfortunately not made at all. So at least in this case, I guess to be more exact, it just wasn't finished. Really, it was never completed. They were in the process of making this, at least to some extent, maybe. It just wasn't completed ever. But anyway, that's a sad reality. This could have, of course, affected gaming, of course. Enough times I've said something about the movies, of course, when it comes to lost media. I've spoken about, yes, obviously, I've mentioned this kind of a thing when it comes to film productions. I saw movies were supposed to have been released, but for one reason or another, something gets in the way due to financial difficulties, creative differences. Maybe nobody's agreeing, but of course, this could also happen to video games. Video games are no exception to this, and this proves it, of course. It's just unfortunate that this was never really finished, so maybe they could have had something here. They could have, I suppose, I reckon. To make this more strange is that there is a fan base for it, for this kind of stuff, so I don't see why this wouldn't work. So yes, of course, video games, including digital downloads, often faded from existence when digital gaming stores close, which of course can potentially happen, obviously, which has happened, of course, before. So this was no exception, like at all. And yes, this is something that didn't escape its fate. All right, let me just wrap things up, folks. It's just something I figured I would do. And yes, you can hear me just ramble on about a bunch of stuff here, which of course I would do. And it's just something I thought it would be cool to look into, I suppose, because it's Barbie related and whatnot. I've just spoken quite a few times on this channel when it comes to this kind of a thing. And I just thought I'll just go to video gaming because, unfortunately, like I was saying, gaming itself, just this whole media, unfortunately, can't escape this kind of fate either. It really can, unfortunately. Even if said thing might be popular, unfortunately. So this kind of thing just unfortunately happened to this. So, by the way, folks, in case anyone's wondering, no, I never played any Barbie games, but that's besides the point, really. Not that it's anybody's business that if I actually played any Barbie games or not, just throwing that out there. Anyway, that'll be it, folks. So I do appreciate anybody for watching, of course. So, as always, thanks for watching and take care. Until next time, see ya. Oh, yeah, later.